How you doing, guys? I'm Sean. Welcome to Rambles with my camera. Guys, today's video, I'm going to answer that old question. Been baffling us for many years. What is the meaning of life? Well, you know that's not true because you've probably seen the film description. What I'm going to talk about is what exactly is street photography. Now, of all the different genres of photography, like sports and landscape, portraits, press, they're all very easy to define. There doesn't seem to be any conflict between them and their profession. But when it comes to street photography, which is 99% amateur, in other words, nobody's really making any money as a result of it. It's not a profession as such, it's more a hobby. There's always this conflict between us. What is street photography, what's not? Now you can look at Wikipedia and they'll give you a breakdown on it, but remember that's only one person's view on it. So don't just give your power away to that. Certainly don't give your power away to me because I'm only sharing my opinion of it, but I am going to touch on what I believe it is and the reasons what I believe it's not. Now, street photography, in my opinion, is when you're actually capturing an image in a street environment. Now that can include people being in the shot. They don't have to be in the shot. It could be rows of streets, rows of buildings. It could be one building on its own. It could be a car. The more stuff that you've got that's linking the person to the public, to the social interaction, will add more weight till it being a street photograph. But the general consensus is that if it's taken in a street environment, then it's street photography. Now it can't be social documentary depending on what you're doing. It can be press and things like that. But the main thing is that it's taken in that environment, and I don't think anybody's really disputing that. But there is some who would dispute it because there's a lot of people there who would sit and say, no, it has to have people in the shot or it's not street. If it's only the buildings, then that's architecture, that's not street photography. But it is, and it can be, and has always been deemed that. Sure, it can be deemed as architecture, that's a separate genre, but it's also bringing the two. Same way some social documentary photography can be linked into street photography, and some street photography can sort of border on social documentary depending on what it is. The biggest problem, the biggest split what's happening in the street photography community, if there is a community, that seems like a divided community, is that the people are saying that it has to be, when the photograph is of a person, it has to be candid. They can go into forums and you check on websites and YouTube channels and videos, and you get a large body of people there who say it has to be, has to be candid, and if it's not candid, it's not street. But I don't agree with that at all. It's not just me, it's thousands of others. And the reason I'm saying that is that it's a sort of a modern myth that's going about, and it's just typical of us, the modern generation, trying to inflate our egos by as if we have more of authority on the people, that we're going to change something that has been there for over 100 odd years, and we're going to make it ours because we're from this generation. We know more about everything than those in the past. You never got the great photographers talking about street photography. We're the ones who grouped them into that pigeonhole, that box. Listen to Henri Cartier-Bresson when he's talking about street. Of course he'll talk about it, but he sort of distances himself from it. Gary Winogrand, a street photographer. Say tell he's a photographer. But if you look at Gary Winogrand's photographs, that if he's not, like, let's face facts here, when he was alive and he was taking the photographs, a great photographer by the way, but he wasn't discreet in any shape or form. He was like a bull in the china shop. You couldn't really miss him in the context. And if you looked at some video clips of him out and about shooting, and you looked at his photographs, you would see that he would get his photograph, he'd take a photograph and he'd wind on, and he'd take another one, and another one. So tell me this here, is that first photograph that Gary Winogrand took, that maybe the person didn't observe him, maybe they did and they just glanced their eyes away, is that first photograph deemed street photography, yet the other 3 and 4 and 5 off that same subject is no longer deemed street photography? What would you call that then? His first photograph is a candid photograph, he captures it, but his next 3 or 4 frames that he takes are equally powerful images. What niche, what would you put that into? What would you categorise them photographs as if they're no longer street photography because the subject has seen them? This is where you have to stop, because I've seen a lot of people just teach photography to people, and they were actually always concerned about, you know, it has to be a candid photograph because they read it somewhere, there has to be a candid photograph. And because they're about to take a photograph of a subject that inside them and say they see a good photograph, because that person looks over and sees them, they put the camera back down again and they walk on because they think that they've missed a photograph because that person has seen it. No, you missed the photograph because you didn't take it, because you've seen the person looking at you. So that's what I want to say, tell you. Street photography is when you're out and about and you're taking photographs in a street environment. It doesn't matter if it's a candid photograph, it doesn't matter if it's actually a consented photograph, it doesn't even matter if it's a staged photograph. Now, there's a difference between bringing models in and staging models for an advertising shoot or something like that. That's when you're taking it away from street photography, because you're trying to keep everything as natural as possible. But remember this here, the person looking over at you is natural. You're not walking over hitting them a smack in the head, look over this way and take a photograph. That's not natural. But if you raise a camera to your eye in that environment, and that person glances over as you're taking that photograph, and you record that instance, you've actually just recorded actually what's happening there. That's street photography. Guys, we're not cracking open somebody's cranium here to get into the brain and start working on to keep somebody alive. We're not cracking open the chest to get working on the heart muscle. We're taking photographs. Nobody's going to die here if somebody happens to look at you when you're taking a photograph. Don't be giving your power away till the YouTube gurus or the forum moderators or the groups who are trying to pigeonhole you into their way of photography. Street photography is fun, but it's not brain surgery. Nobody's going to die. So go out and enjoy it. Stop putting yourself in a box and constrain your photography because other people are telling you that's the way you're going to do it. And you don't have to take my opinion on it, that's just my opinion. But who's having more fun out and about in the street? Me or you? You know, guys walking back with one photograph, two photographs, because they're looking for all candids. Well, there's so much more happening, you know. Guys, here you go. Listen, leave your comments down below, and as I say, if you disagree with me, let me know. Don't worry about it, it's no big deal. I love to have a debate because I genuinely think that's where we all grow and we all learn from. But if you do disagree with me, please leave the links down below to where this body of work, where these groups of our peers, are the photographers from the past, you know, the masters of photography, masters of street photography, have got together and actually have stated that street photography has to be candid. You might find one or two, three who say that they prefer to have candid photography, but you won't get any group. Andre Cartier-Bresson wouldn't even have said that. That's why he distanced himself from that. No, it's all about love. He loved photography. Hated the pigeonhole, putting people in a box. There you go, guys. Listen, send you love from Ireland. Thanks very much for watching. If you haven't already done so, please do subscribe. You can check me out on Twitter and on Facebook, and also rambleswithmycamera.com, and you check out the Flickr page. But subscribe to this channel and we'll have a bit of crack, and we'll go through this journey capturing photographs without the constraints that other people are trying to bind us with.